Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about this police shooting in Sturgeon that happened, and in it, this police officer, for reasons very few people can understand, shot this little dog. It turned out that the dog was blind, it turned out that the dog was deaf, and it really wasn't a danger to anybody. The police officer did this near a school. The question that a lot of people have is why would you do this? What exactly is it about this that any of this situation that would cause you to pull a firearm? And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I saw in the video because as some of you know who've been listening to the channel for a while, I grew up with narcissists, and this guy is one. I'm telling you that right now from what little I was able to see. Now I haven't watched all of this. I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to analyze it. And the reason I want to do this is because there are a lot of people out there who don't really understand what narcissism is, and they probably are living with a narcissist or are a victim of a narcissist, and they don't even know it. Narcissists are very good at making you think that you are crazy, that they are the mature adult in the room, and that you are insane. And that is what this video shows in this scenario. And I gotta say, I grew up with this. This was basically like watching my dad teleport through time. So let's just get into it. There are going to be cuts to this. If you want to see the full video, I'll link it below. But there are going to be cuts because I'm not going to have something to say for every single moment of this. But there are some just jumping around that made me think I got to do a video. So let's get into this. So I want you to notice already that this guy is huffing and puffing, right? The one thing that you have to understand about this entire encounter is that narcissists are always victims. They are always put upon. You don't understand how much pain they go through. No one can understand how much pain they go through. So these people walk through life as living menaces because ultimately they really do believe that they are the martyr of all martyrs. And you can really, it's almost comical. If this situation wasn't so enraging and so disgusting, this would be truly comical. Because he already starts out and he's just huffing and puffing and going throughout his day. And the thing is, a lot of us do that. A lot of us, if you probably catch a lot of us doing that in our car, maybe even getting in and out of the car, depending on how old you are and how rough you were on your body in your youth. But this is going to continue throughout the video, including after he shoots the dog. And it's one of the things I really noticed that made me start to think like, oh, okay, I get what this is.
Oh, man.
Look at this little thing. Look at this little guy. Look how adorable that is. And this guy shoots it. Because it's really dangerous, right? And he starts out and he's just whistling. He's just whistling at this thing. Oh, come here, buddy.
There you go. Put your head in there. Put your head in there. Come on, baby.
So here's one of the things that you really have to understand about narcissists as well, is that they really do believe that they are good people. And they are not just good people. They are the best kind of person. They are a really good person. So they never show up to a situation with bloodlust in their eyes. They are, when they really lash out, when they really start getting defensive or aggressive, it's because they're trying to punish somebody. That's really the thing that you have to understand about narcissists in general, is that if they have to be forced to act in their own mind. And you're going to see this in a second. You're going to see him talking to the owner later, and he's going to use the same kind of language. So he starts out, and he's totally normal. And you know what's really bizarre about this too? It's so interesting to me that this guy has a loop in the back of his car, of his SUV, because not all cops have that, right? It seems like this guy is actually set up for this. I don't know if this is just something that happens a lot, or if, every cop car has this, wherever Sturgeon is. I don't know, but it's just interesting to me because I have worked with police in the past a tiny bit, and they don't all have that in the back of their car just because. I'm sure that's maybe more of a thing more in wherever this looks pretty rural. So maybe it's just because I grew up in an urban environment, but this is something that this guy's set up for, and it's really sad because I'm pretty sure that if you started investigating this guy, that he actually probably does this a lot.
Come on, baby. There you go. There you go. I'm not gonna let you bite me. You keep looking all afraid. There we go. Just get in there. Come on, baby. Something you up. I'm gonna take you to get help.
So this is normal stuff. Like, a dog doesn't want you doing this, even if it can see and hear. I've never seen a video or somebody try to lasso a dog and have it act with anything less than annoyance.
I'm not gonna let you bite me.
And I don't know what this guy, he keeps getting it around its neck, and then for some reason I don't know, he's not acting fast enough to get the thing closed. Which almost makes me think that maybe he actually really did do this on purpose. I'm not saying he did it consciously, but he may have done this very much on purpose.
Trying to help you, baby. Trying to help you.
So now he's getting annoyed.
Trying to help you.
Now the victim starts coming out. Why won't you comply?
You stop moving. Come on. There you go.
What's amazing about this too, by the way, is the fact that there are cameras on all these people at this point. We know at this point what you did because we can always see what you did. And it doesn't seem to stop these people whatsoever. It doesn't seem to stop them at all. He's still whistling it. And the thing is, at this point, it clearly is just a normal dog. You could have you'd think that he'd maybe kneel down, try to pet it. You could probably even pick it up. Seems like it's pretty domesticated. This is not a wild animal by any stretch of the imagination. Boom. Totally on purpose. And it was pretty seamless, right? It's so seamless the way the way he goes about his day.
Had to dispatch it. I'm gonna pick it up.
So a woman complains that he's firing shots around children. And I maybe it's just not caught on video, but he definitely doesn't. He says nothing. He seems to say nothing. See, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time for people like this. Annoying people, complainers, whiners. So I skipped the part where he actually puts the dog in the car. It's just too sad. But what I wanted to note here is how seamless in this guy's mind this happened. So he starts out, he's the good guy. That is very important for everyone to understand in his view. He is the good guy. He's whistling. He's happy-go-lucky. Hey, come on, little puppo. You know, it's all going to be okay. I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you. And then he acts incompetent. I don't really know if it's just like weaponized incompetence where he gets to shoot a dog if he can't figure out a way to close the loop. He got the loop around the dog so many times that I have to believe that at a certain point, like he just wanted to kill something. But what you have to understand about narcissists is that they have to always be pushed into situations in their own mind. This is really important. And we're about to hear him say all of these things to the owner, who comes up and tries to yell at him a little bit. So in a narcissist world, almost everything that they do, they need to be pushed into. They are very passive people in their own mind. And they are, even though they want you to believe that they are very active and in control of everything, and they are, because ultimately if you are a provocateur constantly throughout your whole day, you're in charge. You can really manipulate people and you can pull at their strings, and we're going to get into that with this owner in a second. But they have to believe, and they want you to believe, and they want everyone else to believe that they are reacting only. That there is an impetus upon them and that they react, and that the way that they react is normal, it's mature, it's correct. They are the adult in the room. That is the important thing to them, is that they are so weary. Don't you understand how weary they are? And, you know, you're going to hear all of this language when he starts talking to the owner. So let's get into that.
Is that there right there?
Oh, before we get into that, I just realized I never finished my point. The point was that there was a seamless transition for him between happy-go-lucky dog catcher to, you know, executioner and dispatcher. And to him, there's really no difference. A narcissist can go through their entire day, and at no point during that entire time do they ever take a moment to self-reflect. Because again, the premise is always that they are right, that they are just, that they are mature, that they are correct. So there's nothing to think about. Right? And so there's never a moment where you stop and really think, do I need to kill this dog? I can't get the loop around him. I can't get the dog to comply. Do I really need to kill him? Do I really? It's seamless. It's a seamless transition. And again, some people will say, you know, I don't know if this is narcissism so much as like this is a psychopath who just wants to murder things. But let's get into to the owner, and we'll see. Lots more grunting here, by the way. He maybe he's just unhealthy. I don't know. I don't know what he looks like. He may just be a big boy, but there is a lot of grunting going on.
What's up? You don't hurt a dog? What's up? Calm down.
My name is Nicholas Hunter. I live.
Okay.
I'm here talking to the officer that shot my dog, who is the person that found my dog and called joint communication. And I have spoke with her, and she has stated that the dog, she fed him, gave him water, and he was not fed. And she was just waiting, which nobody ever contacted her after she called joint communication, at which time she went outside.
I can respond to that. I'll tell you why we didn't call her.
Was my dog a threat to you or anyone else? Sir?
No, I'm going to show you something.
What is your name?
I'm going to show you something.
All right, so this is classic. This is an unbelievably classic narcissist move. This person has been called out. They are now going to find a way to take control of the situation by putting themselves in a position of power and by drawing the other person into their world. Everyone is a satellite to this person. Everybody. Everyone else is an NPC. This guy is living in a video game as far as he's concerned. He doesn't think of it that way, of course, but that he might as well be Ready Player One. Everybody else is just a construct in the Matrix. And this person is happily living as the only real person in it. That's really how a narcissist thinks. So he gets this annoying person who's now annoying him, and he really only sees it as something that he has to deal with as a martyr, right? This person is put upon. So what does he do? Well, he's going to show you exactly what happened. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Number, sir?
My God, I'm gonna show you something. Come here.
May I have your
I'm answering your questions. Come here.
Officer Woodson?
Come here.
May I have your badge number?
I'm gonna show you something.
So he has now been asked for his badge number, and he won't give it. He will not do it because he is in charge of the conversation, and he is going to remain in charge of the conversation. There is nothing about this conversation that's going to change that way. He must remain in control. So he's not going to answer this guy's questions, and he's not going to de-escalate either, because narcissists don't want to de-escalate. They want to escalate at all times. You have to remember that these people are reactive. They're reacting to things. And them reacting to things gives them the excuse to overreact to things. That's how a narcissist works. Because they want to subconsciously lash out at everybody, but because they feel that they are ultimately not only the smartest people in the room, but the best people in the room, they can't actually just be bad guys. So they have to have excuses to be bad guys. That's what a narcissist ultimately is. And this narcissist, I should say, to be specific, this narcissist is going to give the dog owner every reason to lash out and attack him so that he can then react and probably kill the dog owner. That's really what, at the very minimum, it would give him the excuse to attack him back, right? He would react. He would put this guy on the floor. He would cuff him. And then the entire time, what do cops always like to say, right? Oh, you know what? Why didn't you just comply, man? Why would you attack me like that? That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And it's because they've been emotionally pulling at all the heartstrings of someone who is dealing with a lot in the grand scheme of things, right? He's dealing with the I don't want to say murder because murder applies to people, but to the murder of his dog, right? This guy basically murdered a helpless animal. And it's just so crazy that that this exists at all, because really the people like this are allowed to exist because nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody's figured this out yet, and it's so crazy.
I'll show you why we didn't call her.
That dog was, this is to be known on record, my dog is completely blind and completely deaf.
My God, look at
He is
this.
a 13-pound
What
Shih Tzu.
does that say right there? Does it say no contact? She said don't call her. Now, if you want to talk, I'll talk to you happily.
That's not how you handle a situation. If a dog is a threat to a person and harms a person or shows immediate threat, that's when you use force. There is many other
Do you want
tactics
to talk
be
or you
able
want to tell me how to
use.
do the job?
Okay. So what this guy just did is he pulled out a computer, and what is he doing? He's basically he's really forcing you to come into his world, right? Because that's where he's powerful. He's powerful in this space in the patrol car. He's powerful with his technology. That's his gadget. That's his tool. So what he does is instead of just de-escalating, saying something like, "Sir, I'm really sorry," because he could have just explained this, right? He could have just explained this. A normal person wouldn't drag the computer out of the car and go, "Let me show you something. Let me show you something." The reason he's dragging out the gadget is to draw your attention into him. That's his world. That's where he's comfortable. He's dragging you in. And this person doesn't do that. This person actually hangs back. He doesn't get sucked into the technology, because that's really what this cop wanted this guy to do, is to like go up to the computer and start studying the computer and what's happening. You're now giving this guy attention. This is actually secondary attention. Look at this cool gadget I have. Look at all the technology I've got. Look at all the things that are standing behind me that make me powerful and make what are you going to do? What are you going to do against all of these buttons I have? Because every single one of these lines of information can be traced back to something in the justice system, something in the legal system, something in the administration. So what are you going to do? That's really what this guy was doing. That's why he pulled out the computer. And this guy has changed tactics correctly. He is not being dragged in to discuss some kind of smoke bomb style secondary discussion about what's going on in the computer and whether or not this person had a no contact listed. And now he's dealing with the real problem, which is you shot a dog that there is no way that this dog had anything to do with violence against anybody else. That this dog was not going to attack anybody, and you killed it because you wanted to. That's really what happened.
I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Job.
I'm more than happy to talk to you.
There's no talking. You already took care of it, and you handled it very poorly. Also, I like to be on the record that you told me whatever on the phone when I called about this situation. Hopefully, your calls are recorded when I called in.
Do you want me to respond to anything, or you just want to sit here and lecture me?
This is a very common tactic with narcissists. They love this. Again, it puts them in the position of martyr, because now they have to deal with this whiny little brat. Oh, God. Are you going to even let me talk? You spoiled little piece of crap. How dare you? How dare you? That's something a lot of narcissists like to say, by the way. I don't know why, because it's very cringe and it always has been. How dare you? But this sort of tactic that says, listen, if you're gonna, this was my dad all over again, right? This is really what cued me in. Oh, now I know what's going on. I should do a video on this, because my dad used to talk like this to us, where he would wind you up and he would get you going. And you would be emotional and distraught and confused because somebody was attacking you. And as children, you don't really understand what's going on in real time, but you know that you're now offended and defensive and that something is wrong. So you start trying to investigate it. As you investigate it, the narcissist will start creating ways to make you more distraught. And as you become more and more upset, they get to pretend to be more and more mature, right? Because it's very easy to make someone look crazy. If you know how to pull at someone's heartstrings in the wrong way, you can actually turn them into a real mess, especially children. I mean, this is especially true of children. Now, this is an adult male that is not going to respond the way that this narcissist would like him to. I pray that this cop does not have kids, but this adult man is more attuned with himself. He knows how the world works to a certain extent. He's not completely contextualist, but a child is. A child doesn't know the context of the world and what's normal. So the child of the narcissist is constantly dealing with the fact that it doesn't know the difference between a normal family or a healthy family and a rotten one. And so when you're dealing with a parent that is a narcissist, what ends up happening is you are made to feel like a whiny baby, and the adult is made to feel like the adult in the room. And it has to be as extreme as possible for them to really wring out every little moment of that for themselves. And that's what's so sick about it, is because what they have to do is they have to minimize you as a person. You're not a person with real feelings. You're a whiny baby idiot who doesn't understand what's going on. And it needs to be explained to them. And so this is how they do it. They have to turn you into a blubbering mess by the end of the day. So that and often what they'll do afterwards is come in and then play hero, right? Oh, hey, well, here's ice cream, or why don't we go to a movie or something like that? Or, you take your kids to the park or whatever. And now what you've done is you've hit the reset button, right? Now this cop isn't going to do any of that, but I'm just explaining that for some people because there are so many people who don't understand what's happening to them right now. And narcissism is a growing problem. It is. I personally believe that. Supposedly, most of the time in most of the world, narcissists make up about 5 to 7% of the population or so. I have a feeling that it's way worse than that. If it's not way worse than that, then we happen to be seeing far more of them on television. That may also be what's happening. Because narcissists, surprise, surprise, happen to constantly put themselves in position of power. And we put those people on television, or we put cameras on them, because when you have this much power, you have to be responsible and accountable. So this is what we had to do. We had to literally put cameras on cops because there are so many narcissist cops that we couldn't trust them anymore. Really horrifying stuff. So anyway, so now this guy is going to start really amping up. Notice this, by the way. As this cop amps up this guy, just think about how you would get amped up just listening to this without this context. Imagine this guy didn't just shoot your dog. Doesn't this amp you up? That's the point. That's the point. You're going to start to feel negative emotions as you hear this police officer speak to this guy, and that's what they're good at. They are masterminds at getting you to become livid and angry, because when you are angry, you become immature. And when you become immature, they can be that much more mature. And they can pretend to be the mature adult in the room. And then you get really mad because now you understand what's happening. And you understand that they're in the wrong and you're in the right. But you look crazy. And that is the narcissist's great spider web.
I respond to a situation. All I have is information at hand, correct? All I have is information at hand. I see a dog that is walking around blindly. I don't know the dog's blind.
You didn't try to whistle?
Can I respond? Yes, I tried. I have a whole team in contact with me trying to contact him. I had a little leash out too trying to catch the dog. How am I supposed to know the dog is simply, that's his medical condition? Do I know your dog?
A dog, unless
Do I know your dog?
You are a person.
You know, that is not how this
shoot
works.
It's not.
That is not how this works.
We shall find out, sir.
You sure can.
I'm going to do my study.
Well, are you trying to have a conversation, or you just want to keep on
there's no conversation. I guess if you're one,
I'm trying to speak to you.
Citation.
Am I not trying to speak to you? Do I have my citation book out? Is there a pen in my hand? Am I not trying to respond to you? I'm not trying to ease the situation over. It's a situation. I don't enjoy shooting dogs. My God, all I had was a dog with a condition I don't know anything about it. I am sorry.
Narcissists love to point out the obvious, right? And the simple fact is that this is probably wrong. I think this guy totally enjoyed shooting this dog. It's not necessarily because he wanted to shoot the dog. This is really important to understand. It's not necessarily because this guy is a psychopath who wanted to kill. It's because shooting the dog is such a sad thing, and it's such a horrible thing, that it puts the narcissist in a position of martyr. He had to deal with the emotion of that, don't you understand? Don't you understand that we're both really victims of this grand tragedy? And the grand tragedy, in reality, was created by this narcissist. That's what's happening here.
This happened. I'm not happy I had to shoot a dog. I got dogs myself. How am I supposed to know the dog's condition?
You wear a camera?
I got a camera on this recording. But I'm asking you, how am I supposed to know the dog's condition?
there's other ways, there's tactics to find out if the dog responds, if he's aggressive.
I understand how to make a dog respond.
It's such a scary thing that this guy pretends like he couldn't possibly know what the condition of the dog was, because it's true for every dog. Every single dog you encounter, and this is true for people too, this is the really concerning part to me. Every person or animal that you encounter in the world is a mystery to you. It's a giant question mark until you actually try to investigate what's going on. So, an investigation with that dog might have been because it was so calm and because it was so nice and looked so, I mean, it wasn't even responding violently to the loop. So you would think that at a certain point he might just say, "Can I pet this thing?" You know? Right? Like if you kind of just reach out and go like, "Hey buddy, you okay? What's going on?" And maybe it starts wagging its tail, and that's all you really need to know. I didn't know the condition of the dog. That's true for people. Are you going to shoot people? Oh, sorry, man. I had to shoot him. I had him handcuffed. I was trying to handcuff him, and he moved. And I didn't know what condition he was in. He could have been on drugs, or he could have been a violent criminal, but I didn't know that, so I just did what the natural thing to do is. You shoot him, right? You shoot the guy, you shoot the gal. What was I supposed to do?
Lethal is last resort. You can use a taser, you can use a lasso. There's many other.
Where's the taser? I had a lasso.
Other ways.
I had a lasso. I was using a lasso.
And did you feel harmed when you were
He
trying
failed
to catch
at
him?
using the lasso.
Exactly.
But you're not listening. You're not listening. You're trying to argue, but I'm just simply trying to talk to you.
Did he harm anybody when
I responded to a situation? Do you want to speak?
So even just that little tiny insinuation there, right? You're arguing. I'm attempting to breach the gap. Don't you understand that I'm trying to talk to you as a human being and that you're just being crazy? This is gaslighting to the nth degree. And it's something that they do all the time. This isn't even that enraging, because my dad, for example, had an unbelievably triggering way of speaking. It was this tone that he had, and it was like the ultimate narcissist tone. I still use it with people sometimes to explain to them what a narcissist sounds like and what it's like to grow up with one. Every time I've done it, and I mean every time without fail, the tone is so rotten to the core that people think that because I can replicate it, that it's the real me, that there's this darkness under the surface of me. And they end up victim blaming me because of the way that I made them feel. It's very fascinating. It's just a really interesting aside there.
You just want to sit here and try to lecture me. I'm not trying to lecture you. I'm not saying you was a bad dog owner. I'm saying I have information I have it on hand. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm sorry I had to do it. That's all I'm saying here.
I'm sorry I had to react. I'm sorry that I set up a situation in which I had to react with force. That I had to react as a martyr. That I had to react, and I'm never in charge. I'm never the person. I'm never where the buck stops. I'm always somebody who is going to react to problems, and there was nothing else I could do. I swear, I swear, I swear.
I'm not saying you're a bad owner. You don't see me writing a citation for a dog at large, do you? I'm not. It's a situation.
This was a threat, right? So first, what he's saying is, you are a bad dog owner. This is your fault. This is your fault. This is a classic line from narcissists, right? But usually what they say is, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Now, see, I have to do that because when you get crazy like this, I have to do something to reinstate order. I have to, and I really don't want to, honey, but you just, look what you did. Look how you're acting. Stop this. So not only is he saying, look, this is your fault because you let this dog out. You let this dog get out. And I was just responding to a crisis. I was reactive. You're ultimately the person responsible for this. Ultimately, what he implying that this dog owner is really responsible for all of this because he let this cop into his life. It's sort of a weird tell in a lot of ways with narcissists that they'll say something like this because what they ultimately say is, look what you did. You drew my attention to you and then you forced me to react because that's all I ever do. I only ever set up a situation where I have to react. And when I do, it's going to be violent. It's going to be bad. It's going to be rotten to the core. You are the one who invited Dracula into your home. You idiot. And then, of course, what he goes on to do is threaten him with a citation. Look how nice I am. Look how magnanimous I am. They do that a lot. I could have done so much worse. I could have done something more. You could have, you want to know real tears? You want to cry? I'll give you something to cry about. That's what this is.
Situation, buddy. I'm with you.
Show of authority.
What authority? I went and spoke to a dog. I thought I had a medical issue.
I live by rules and regulations.
How was I supposed to know the dog to get hit by a car?
I lived by rules of engagement for 12 years.
How did I know the dog to get hit by a car?
The proper way.
How did I know the dog to get hit by a car?
To get hit by a car?
How did I not know that? How did I not know somebody didn't just throw the dog out? How was I supposed to know any of that?
Because you're supposed to, if you are a dog, to get the dog, then you're supposed to catch him, and you're not supposed to shoot him.
You did not hear me say I attempted that. That was my first step.
You take them to the pound.
We don't have a humane society here.
So what is your procedure?
What is my procedure? We have a pound up there. And what if I put the dog in there?
I gotta say that this guy actually handled this cop really well. Sometimes you see videos and people really don't know how to handle this kind of thing because they don't have experience with it. This guy may have had experience with this kind of thing before. Because this guy is not, he's not responding emotionally to the challenges. He's actually dealing with now. You can actually see him start to sober up as this goes on. Because at first he was either near tears or crying, and now he's actually dealing with this possible lunatic. Right, all of a sudden, this guy starts to realize, it seems, that there may be something even bigger at play here, because now this guy, this cop, I should say, I keep saying guy, this police officer keeps throwing things at him, and it's actually making the police officer lose power in that scenario, and this is often what happens now. When a narcissist loses power this way in a situation domestically, this can turn violent, right? Because this is when, when somebody starts to, when your child or your spouse starts to win the conversation with you, win the debate, win the argument, that's when you start getting into domestic violence, spankings, things like that, because you got to somehow redirect the situation so that you are in control again. The mask flies off, and now, all of the manipulation hasn't worked. So now you just got to do it the old-fashioned way, right? So this is where I actually start to get a little nervous for this guy because this is where violence starts to come out. Now the threats start to come out. Now I haven't seen this part, so maybe that's what happens. I don't know.
And it was a medical emergency, and the dog was bleeding internally. Then it's just sitting there suffering. And then y'all be on me about the dog suffering. So how was I supposed to do? What else am I supposed to do? We don't have a freaking animal
like everybody
control
else. It was on there for an hour before you responded and shot it. You're supposed to put it online, put the dog in back. I have everything on my phone.
Okay.
But when the lady posted it to let me know it was lost and everything.
So it was online for an hour, so I didn't know about it.
If this guy wasn't a narcissist, you could see a cop saying this just because there are so many police officers, especially ones who work in these sort of rural environments where, they don't really have that much to do day to day, right? they're kind of just there in case some emergency happens. But this is really kind of their job in the grand scheme of things. Is like, if you find a dog and it's sort of just wandering around, you're supposed to kind of be able to look at the tags. Oh, look, we have an address. I'll bring it back home. I mean, for God's sakes, I've done this. I've done this multiple times where either by myself or with someone else or with my family, we found a dog and you call it over because it doesn't seem to be where it's supposed to be, and you take it home. You know, it's got tags, or, you know, you take it to a shelter or something like that, and they figure out where it's supposed to go because it's chipped or something like that. If normal people can do this, surely this guy who was on the clock could have done this. And to him, you know, he could not get away from his responsibilities fast enough. Yet another likely reason that he is in fact a narcissist.